Old magazines can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But before you start searching through every box in the attic, there's something you need to know. Age alone does not create value. And some of the details collectors care about most are incredibly easy to miss. All right, let's see how sharp you really are. 10 questions. No hints, no second chances. I'll give you the statement. You decide, fact or fiction. Think fast, trust your instincts, and keep score, because this one gets tricky. Ready? Let's test your knowledge of magazine collecting. Question 1. Here's your first statement. Any magazine more than 50 years old is automatically valuable. The answer is fiction. This sounds believable, but age alone does not make a magazine valuable. Collectors usually look at several factors: scarcity, condition, historical importance, cover subject, demand, completeness, and how many copies have survived. A 70-year-old magazine that was printed by the millions and saved by thousands of readers may remain inexpensive. Meanwhile, a much newer issue could command considerably more if it had a limited print run, was recalled, features a culturally important cover, or contains an early appearance by someone who later became famous. Age can help create scarcity, but age and scarcity are not the same thing. The real question is not simply how old is it. It is how many collectors want it, and how difficult is it to find another copy. Question 2. Next statement. The first issue of a magazine is always the most valuable issue in the entire series. Answer is fiction. First issues often attract strong collector interest because they represent the beginning of a publication. But first does not automatically mean most valuable. A later issue may be more desirable because it features an iconic cover, documents a major historical event, includes the first published work of an important writer or photographer, or survives in much smaller numbers. Some first issues were heavily promoted and printed in large quantities. That can make them easier to find than later issues produced after circulation declined. Collectors must also determine what first issue actually means. A magazine may have a preview issue, test market edition, regional pilot, volume 1 issue, or an earlier publication under a different title. So never rely on a seller's description alone. Check the publication date, volume and issue number, and research the magazine's publishing history. Question 3, let's continue. A subscription address label makes a collectible magazine completely worthless. The answer is fiction. An address label can reduce visual appeal, and many collectors will pay more for a clean newsstand copy without one. But it rarely makes an important magazine worthless. The effect depends on the issue, its rarity, the label's location, and the preferences of the buyer. A label placed in an open mailing area may be less distracting than one covering part of the artwork, a headline, or the featured person's name. Trying to remove it can also cause more damage than leaving it alone. Adhesives can pull away ink, create stains, or tear the cover. Solvents and heat can permanently alter the paper. For a genuinely rare issue, collectors may gladly accept a subscription label, especially when cleaner copies are almost impossible to find. Condition matters, but availability matters too. Question 4. Pay attention to this one. Removing a poster, coupon, or subscription card can affect a magazine's collectability, even if every article remains intact. The answer is fact. This is true because a collectible magazine is more than its articles. Posters, foldouts, sample packets, trading cards, records, maps, calendars, and advertising inserts may all be considered part of the original publication. In some cases, the insert is exactly what collectors want. A music magazine may have included a band poster. A gaming magazine might contain a promotional card or demo disc. A fashion publication may have carried a special fragrance sample or designer supplement. When these components are removed, the magazine is no longer complete. Even a blank-looking subscription card can help establish that the copy has survived in its original state. Before buying a supposedly complete magazine, research what was originally included and check every page carefully. Question 5. We're halfway there. A famous celebrity on the cover guarantees that a magazine will become valuable. The answer is fiction. A famous cover subject can increase demand, but fame does not guarantee rarity or value. Major celebrities may appear on hundreds of magazine covers. Some of those issues were printed in enormous quantities and remain widely available. Collectors often place greater importance on context. Was it the person's first major cover? Was it published before a breakthrough performance? Does it capture a major career moment, controversy, or historic achievement? Was the cover photographed by an important artist? And did the issue survive in high-grade condition? A common magazine featuring a global superstar may sell for less than a scarce regional publication featuring that same person before they became famous. The subject creates attention. Scarcity, significance, and condition help turn that attention into collector demand. Question 6. Let's raise the difficulty. 2 magazines with the same title, cover, and date can still be different collectible editions. The answer is fact. This is where magazine collecting becomes surprisingly complicated. Publishers may produce newsstand copies, subscription editions, regional versions, international editions, and special promotional copies. The main image may look identical while smaller details differ. One version might carry a barcode, another might have an address box, different cover price, altered headline, regional advertisement, or alternate wording. Some magazines are also released with multiple official covers for the same issue. These differences do not automatically make one version more valuable, but they can create separate collectible variants. Scarcity and demand still matter. A rare cover variant featuring a popular entertainer, athlete, or cultural figure may attract a premium, while another rare variant may receive little attention. Compare the barcode, price, publication information, advertising, and fine print, not just the central cover image. Question 7. This one catches people off guard. Cleaning, flattening, or repairing an old magazine before selling it will always increase its value. The answer is fiction. Well-intentioned improvement can become permanent damage. Household cleaners can remove ink or leave chemical residue. Tape may stain the paper and become brittle. Glue can soak through pages. Aggressive flattening can split a spine or create new creases. Trimming damaged edges may make a magazine look neater, but it removes original material. Collectors may also distinguish between conservation, pressing, and restoration. The effect on desirability can depend on what was done, how it was performed, and whether it was disclosed. Never attempt an unfamiliar treatment on a valuable issue just because it worked on an ordinary piece of paper. Sometimes the safest decision is to leave the magazine exactly as it is. A visible original defect is often preferable to a hidden and irreversible repair. Question 8. Stay focused. Sealing a magazine inside a plastic bag permanently protects it from deterioration. The answer is fiction. A suitable protective sleeve can reduce handling damage, dust, and surface abrasion, but it cannot stop time. Paper can continue to discolor and weaken because of acidity, heat, humidity, pollutants, and earlier exposure to poor conditions. Not every plastic sleeve is suitable for long-term storage either. Some plastics can become cloudy, sticky, or chemically unstable as they age. Collectors should use appropriate archival quality materials, provide acid-free backing when suitable, and avoid direct sunlight. Stable temperature and relative humidity are also important. Basements may expose magazines to moisture and mold, while attics can experience extreme heat and damaging fluctuations. And magazines should be inspected periodically. A protective enclosure is part of a preservation system, not a permanent force field. Question 9. Almost there. A complete run of ordinary magazines can sometimes be more desirable than the same issues sold separately. The answer is fact. A complete run can offer something individual issues cannot: continuity. A researcher, institution, or dedicated collector may want every issue from a particular year, publishing era, or entire series. Together, those magazines can document changing fashions, advertisements, political attitudes, technology, art, language, and popular culture. Completeness also saves buyers the time and expense of locating missing issues individually. However, a complete run is not automatically worth the combined asking price of every issue. Large collections require storage, and shipping can be expensive. Many runs contain mostly common issues with only a few high-demand highlights. Collectors should identify the key issues, confirm the sequence, check for missing dates, and assess whether the condition is reasonably consistent. A complete collection has to be genuinely complete, and there still needs to be a buyer who wants it. Question 10. This is the final question, and it's the one that surprises most people. An advertisement inside an old magazine can eventually become more historically or financially interesting than the magazine's main feature. The answer is fact. This is true, and it reveals why magazines are such fascinating historical objects. Collectors do not only search for famous covers and major articles, they also look for early advertisements, discontinued products, classic cars, vintage technology, toys, fashion campaigns, movie promotions, and brands that later became cultural icons. An ordinary magazine could contain an early advertisement for a now famous company, the launch of an influential product or artwork, created by a notable illustrator or photographer. Advertisements can show original prices, packaging, slogans, and social attitudes that may have disappeared from every other surviving record. This is also why cutting advertisements out of magazines can be a costly mistake. The page may appear more valuable on its own, but removing it destroys the completeness of the magazine and separates the advertisement from its original historical context. A collectible magazine is not merely an old publication. It is a time capsule. The cover may attract your attention, but sometimes the overlooked pages inside tell the most valuable story. All right, how did you do? Drop your score in the comments and tell us which magazine you would rescue first from an old attic collection. Be honest. 8 or more? You're ahead of most people. 10 out of 10? You may already think like a serious collector. Less than that? Now you know what others don't. Before you throw away, clean, repair, or dismantle an old magazine, research it. The detail that looks unimportant today could be exactly what collectors search for tomorrow. Hit like, subscribe, and come back for the next Collectiblepedia challenge. Because knowing more is how you stay ahead.